first career start, stands in to lead off this game for the Gators. And the first pitch from Colton Smith is in there for a fastball strike, 94 on the gun, and we are underway at Foley Field. Wilson, the sophomore out of Orlando, transfer from Charleston Southern, just 2 for 8 on the season as Coach Kevin O'Sullivan's had to jumble up his lineup just to make up for the injuries. Ty Evans, broken wrist in the 10-1 victory against Kentucky, their right fielder, last Saturday, and then just the devastating injury loss of Yost in the outfield here on Foley Field's field last night during their practice. Count goes 1-2. That's a tough spot to put Ashton Wilson in.
Right.
And he's batting in front of Caglione, too.
And he's leading off. That's just kind of wild. It's one of those seasons for the Gators. They just can't get in rhythm, can't get that consistency going. They've been battling all year long.
1-2 pitch is fouled out of play. A combination of injuries here, especially late in the outfield, last 3 games. And then the inexperience has kind of caught up with them. And they've dropped their last 6 series. They won their first 3. They were 6-3 in the SEC. They've lost their last 6 series in a row. All started losing 3 one-run games at Missouri back in early April.
Yeah, and it's not for lack of talent. You mentioned those close ball games they're losing. Just a little bit of lack of experience. As the slider there from Colton Smith for the strikeout.
Colton Smith gets the strikeout of Ashton Wilson to get us going.
It all starts with the fastball, that 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and then that slider tunnels right off. It just disappears right at the end. You see Wilson just didn't recognize it in time.
And here is Jack Caglione, a 30-game hitting streak. He's tied for the all-time longest hitting streak in Florida history with Jacob Young. It's the 7th longest in SEC history. And ball 1 from Colton Smith. How exciting is it to see Caglione and Charlie Condon on the same field for 3 games this weekend? Young man out of Tampa Plant High School. 1-0 pitch, and that ball is bounced to Branch. And that'll be out number 2. Here's a look at the Bulldogs defense, 972 on the season. That's 13th out of the 14 teams in the SEC. Dogs have committed 47 errors in 50 games. Gonzalez behind the plate. Condon's at first tonight. Alford at second, Branch at short. Murillo getting the start at third. Tate's in left. Carter in center field, just back from that knee injury. And Collins in right as Coach Wes Johnson going with a right-handed heavy batting order. Here's Colby Shelton, one of 3 left-handers in the batting order for the Gators, and back-to-back with Caglione and Shelton here. Colton Smith doing a good job of getting in front of the hitters here in the top of the first. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Smith. Breaking ball, drops it in there for a strike, and he's ahead 0-2. Shelton out of Lexington, South Carolina, and a transfer from Alabama with 18 home runs on the season. Second most on this team behind Caglione. Branch moves up the middle in the shortstop position. Fastball 95, misses the zone. It's 1-2. Colton Smith out of Ocala, Florida, not far from Gainesville, Forest High School. Big 6'3", 210 sophomore. Really come into his own this season. Didn't start that way, but he won 4 games in the month of April, 3 of them out of the bullpen. Then had a magnificent start against Texas A&M that earned him SEC Pitcher of the Week honors.
Yeah, he's just been fantastic every time he's taken to the mound. Very consistent. Like I said, just building that confidence up as the year has gone on. Just a couple of bad innings, really. And other than that, he's been phenomenal.
Shelton homered twice in the Kentucky series, pitch outside. Gators ended up dropping 2 out of 3, but like so many of their games this season, their 2 losses both went extra innings. They've had a ton of one-run games, and they've lost a preponderance of those. They're 4-8 in one-run games, 3-7 in one-run games in the SEC this year. 2-2 pitch is struck well to center field. Dylan Smith going to his left and has it. Looked like he had some trouble judging that thing, but he's able to track
on the mound that makes him so effective.
coming back from those injuries. He's pitched his best these last 2 starts. And here's the batting order that he's facing from the Bulldogs. Heavy right-handers here. The only 2 left-handers are Collins and Carter. And Trey Phelps, the SEC Player of the Week, you see him elevated to the number 3 spot in the batting order tonight.
Yeah, it's really impressive how he's come along as the season has gone on. His ability to adjust, especially on pitches coming in. I think he stands a good chance of that slider if it's left up from Coppola and pulling his hands inside and keeping it fair. He's got just incredibly quick hands and a good young talent.
So Corey Collins, who leads the nation in on-base percentage, steps into the batter's box to get us started here for the Bulldogs tonight. 48 walks and a program record 24 hit by pitch, which is number 1 in the SEC and number 5 in the entire country. Corey Collins will be recognized along with 12 other seniors on Senior Day Saturday. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Coppola. I'm wondering if Todd Golden took a look at this guy. Man, he is all arms and legs, isn't he?
He is a big
He's got to have
boy.
some post-up moves and hoops, right? My gosh, he's huge. Here's the 1-1 pitch.
Oh,
Hit
there
him,
he goes.
25th time. And Corey's armored up really well. I mean, it's rare that you see him show any emotion or reaction when he gets hit by a pitch.
Yeah, just holds his ground. Probably nicked his jersey there on the way by, but makes it so tough on the pitcher. You just feel so squeezed in. So that one just stays a little bit arm side, nicks his jersey. He gets the free pass. Charlie Condon gets the hit with somebody on.
Here's Charlie Condon. Pitch missed inside to Condon. What a season, Charlie Condon. 34 home runs, second highest single season total in SEC history. And he's now chasing Brandon Larson, LSU 1997, who hit 40 before the BB Core bat era.
First 2 fastballs trying to come in. You see Coppola pitching from that first base side of the rubber. The 3/4 arm slot trying to get in on Charlie's hands.
Chop foul. Not asking for a dissertation here, but I know fans have heard a lot the last couple of weeks, in particular when he broke the record, about the BB Core bat era. Kind of explain kind of the evolution of what we've gone through in a nutshell if you can.
Yeah, they kind of dumbed down the bats and they matched them to an exit velocity commensurate to Charlie singles on the left side, 112 miles an hour off his bat. I think that's the impressive thing with him. His exit velos are just off the chart. So ground ball through the left side of the infield's at 112. You know, you see home runs, they go out at less than that. So his miss hits still jump off the bat, but with the BB Core, it's at I believe it's a 1.15 ratio. So on a set miles per hour, the ball's not going to come off at a set bat speed more than 15% hotter than the pitch comes in. So it kind of regulated the bats in that way. And before then, it was BESR, and I don't know if they had an exit velocity similar to that, but we mentioned the -5 weight to length ratio on the bats. Now it's -3, so a little bit tougher.
A lot of math involved.
They've also changed the ball a little bit too, so I think the balls that they're using now are a little bit wound a little bit tighter, have some smaller seams as well, so they cut through the air and seem to travel a bit further. But all that said, Charlie's having a really good season.
He really is. Trey Phelps count as 1-1. Look at the numbers for Phelps at 385, 9 homers and 32 RBI. By the way, the base hit by Charlie Condon stretches his hit streak to 22 games. So another very familiar and similar stat matching these two great players, Condon and Caglione. Condon at 22 base hits, 22 game hit streak, and of course, Caglione's right now at 30. That ball is hit well to center field. Going back on it as Robertson has it right there on the track. Corey Collins will tag from second and reach third, and the Dogs have runners at the corners.
And I think the impressive part, you mentioned those hitting streaks that both Caglione and Condon have, is how much they walk. So they're doing it in a limited number of at-bats because they get pitched around so often because they're so dangerous power-wise.
The other thing that's very similar about them is not only how much they walk, but how few times they strike out.
Yeah, very selective in the zone.
Just great hitters, not great power hitters, but just great hitters, period. Here's Slade Alford with the go-ahead run 90 feet away. Gets around on that one and yanks it foul. Alford, the transfer from Mississippi State at 315 homers and 59 RBI. Alford is number 5 in the SEC with those 59 runs driven in. Has an opportunity right here, and this should do it. To right field, it goes to Wilson. Tagging Collins. He will score without a throw, and Georgia has a 1-0 lead. So RBI number 60 for Slade Alford.
Doing his job right there, getting the ball in the air, first and third. Want to stay out of that inning-ending double play. So Alford, a little bit more of an uppercut, just got under that a hair, but ends up with the RBI.
Here's Paul Tates. Strike one to Tates. Tates has kind of taken over this left field spot. Has really had a good bat here in the last month of the season. Kind of settled into that 5 or 6 spot in the batting order. Although that's a fluid thing with Wes Johnson.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard to say, well, he bats. About the only thing you can say is Charlie Condon's going to bat second.
Yes, that's been the most consistent. And then Collins, about
sometimes
the last
he bats
half
third,
of the season,
but usually lead off. 0-1 is driven to right field. Tates has great opposite field power, and he got it out of here. Home run number 4 for Tates. RBI 20 and 21. Dogs have a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, you mentioned Tate's good opposite field power. That ball's supposed to be in. Misses out over the plate, up about belt high. I think Tate's was beat just a little bit deep, but taking advantage of the short porch in right field, able to get enough of it to create a big inning here for Georgia in the bottom of the first.
Here's Fernando Gonzalez with the Dogs on top 3-0. First strike to Gonzalez is a strike. I've been calling SEC baseball a long time. Gators and the Dogs and everybody else in the conference, 20 years. I've never seen an offense quite like this from this Georgia team. They've gone 6 consecutive games in the conference against Vandy and South Carolina, scoring double digits as Gonzalez pops up to Caglione. Georgia here as they bat in the second.
And you mentioned all the close ball games that haven't gone their way. That's the frustrating part, right? You got enough pieces of the puzzle, you just can't finish the things out. And I think right there, managing, got first 2 base runners reach. You're 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning, giving up 1 run, and you give up the home run to Tates on a misexecuted fastball.
Tyler Shellnut at the plate. Count is 1-1 to Shellnut. Out of Fort White High School in Lake City, Florida, by way of Santa Fe Community College, right there in Gainesville. 13 homers on the year for Shellnut. Batting number 4 in the order for the Gators. The 1-1 pitch to Shellnut is hit into center field. Dylan Carter tracking back, has plenty of room for out number 1. Good to see Dylan Carter back out there. He made a spectacular catch in Game 3 of that South Carolina series in Columbia, making a diving catch on the warning track, and that was really his first action back after missing, 6 weeks with a knee injury suffered on that play at home plate against Mississippi State. And this is his first start since coming back. Good to see him out there, and just a huge addition to the Bulldogs defense. They give up a little bit offensively with Clayton Chadwick on the bench and Dylan Carter in center field, but Carter brings so much to the plate, or to the field, I should say, more appropriately. Chadwick's not been bad either.
No, both have done a good job. I think with Carter, just a little bit better on the power side of things than Chadwick. But Chadwick's gotten some clutch hits throughout the season and has filled in well for Carter in center field.
Here's Curlin at the plate. Number 5 hitter playing second base, Cade Curlin. Popped up over on the right side. And Charlie Condon has it for out number 2. Wow, Colton Smith has been in command so far.
God, I just love his demeanor out there. Just never too high, never too low. Seems like he's very focused on that pitch, that moment, and he's done a great job at executing to this point.
The only thing we missed with him starting, not coming in out of the bullpen, his run-in music, which is Freebird by Leonard Skinner. They did play it, but we were doing our open, so we didn't really get to enjoy it like we typically do. Here's Brody Donay, catcher, who's batting DH for the Gators tonight. He was really hitting some bombs in BP. Now, you were a catcher in your playing days, and you're not 6'5", 235.
I am not. He is a big catcher. You mentioned the batting practice display he was putting on. Saw him get one over the batter's eye, and he was playing pepper off of it. Real simple, nice wide stance, not much of a stride, but he's got some real power in those hands.
No balls and 2 strikes to Donay. Fouled it back right behind the ear of Fernando Gonzalez. This Gators team 10th in the SEC with a .273 batting average. They're 4th in home runs, 10th in RBI, 11th in runs scored, averaging 6.9 runs per game overall. Strikeout for Colton Smith. That's his second through the first 6 batters.
Long, but had a little bit of a lull there in the middle. That pitching, though, I think that's been the biggest jump for them, is that pitching has just gotten consistent. I think guys are getting very comfortable in their roles. Confidence is up. So they're formidable out there on the mound as well.
1-0 to Dylan Carter. Strike 1-1. I agree. I think it's the pitching is the thing that's been the biggest difference. The offense has been there all year long. So the fact that the Bulldogs are mashing the ball is not a big surprise as Carter lays into that one and sends it to center field. Long run for Robertson, back to the wall. There it goes! You know, that feels good for Dylan Carter. 6th home run, 12th RBI. Georgia leads 4-0.
Now, welcome back, Dylan Carter. Another ball up in the zone, just mis-executed there. Looked like a hanging slider, just hung up there for him. And deep part of the field, wind's blowing out that way just a hair. And there he goes, showing that power that we mentioned before.
The former Texas Tech Red Raider. Georgia up by 4. Here's Sebastian Murillo getting a rare start at third base tonight. Again, the Dogs, Coach Wes Johnson juggling that batting order to get as many right-handers in there as possible. Murillo, who was the starting everyday shortstop a year ago. Give him credit. Came back senior year, didn't jump in the portal looking for a better opportunity, even though he knew Branch was going to replace him as the starting shortstop.
Yeah, he's done a great job kind of playing everywhere, mixes in at second base as well. Good defensive player out there. Swings a good stick. I mean, gotten some clutch hits. Moved the ball around. Chadwick and him very similar. Kind of those role players that get the job there done there at the bottom of the order.
Yeah, Wes Johnson called him a defensive wizard. 2-1 pitch is fouled out of play. It's 2-2. Murillo making his 22nd start tonight, playing in his 34th game. 243, couple of homers and 13 RBI. But has fit right into this Wes Johnson scheme that really relies on matchups and role players. I mean, the only guys that are in there every day are Condon and Branch for sure, and Collins now didn't start out that way. Alford is too, but not always in the infield. Although Alford's at the second base, he's kind of gotten back into the field of play with Trey Phillips coming back from that knee injury and them using him in the DH role. Murillo just missed extra bases. Dogs 31-5 when hitting 2 home runs this season, which they have already done here tonight. Just 7 batters into the game. 3-2 pitch from Coppola. Shoots it to the shortstop. Shelton throws him out. 1 down in the inning. And how about this for a number 9 hitter as Colby Branch strides to the plate. 15 homers and 51 RBI.
That lineup just stretches so far. And again, that nine hole with Collins and Condon behind it acts as a leadoff hole, or leadoff spot, really, after that first time through. Not
93
your,
from Coppola.
Not your traditional type 9-hole, really traditional type of lineup.
15 homers for Branch, most recently a solo homer in that 14-4 8-inning victory. Run ruled Vandy twice. Last 6 SEC games, they've scored double digits, 71 total runs, averaging 11.8 runs per game against SEC teams. We're not talking about non-conference Tuesday and Wednesday night games. They're averaging 12 runs per game against the likes of Vanderbilt and South Carolina.
And there's just no breaks. There's no breaks. There's no easy innings where you can, as a pitcher with 2 outs while you're on offense, look, hey, next we got these 3 guys, get this guy out this way, that way, the other way. It's just always a stress-packed inning.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Branch. Number 9 hitter in the order for the Bulldogs. Did he check his swing? They appeal down to first, and he checked his swing. It's 3-2. Ronnie Teague is the home plate umpire tonight. Brandon Bennett at first, Scott Klein at second, and Michael Carroll at third base. 3-2 is struck well to center field. Robertson retreats, and right there, now feet on the track, has it for out number 2. Bulldogs 38-12, 16-11 in the SEC under first-year head coach Wes Johnson. They've now hit 135 home runs, program record, 11 grand slams, program record, current 7-game SEC win streak, 8 games in a row overall. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, we're opening the Vanderbilt series, and Georgia's 10-11. And we're thinking and we're talking on the air that Georgia just has to get to 15 wins to secure an NCAA, to get in an NCAA region.
Yeah, they're on schedule, 1 game below 500, and they've had, 1 extra series on the road, so they're doing just fine. And now 2 weeks later,
it's mushroomed into top 8 national seed. Collins, little nubber, Coppola throws to first and got him just in time.
Some of that athleticism off the mound.
A&M currently in that 4 spot. Right now, only 1 team going into the last weekend has clinched a top 4 seed in the SEC tournament. That's Kentucky. It's about as wide open as I can remember. Maybe not so much on the back end where it's pretty clear cut. Auburn's out, we know. Missouri's going to be out soon, probably. They're playing at Mississippi State tonight.
That's right, yep.
You're going to have some teams going to the SEC tournament on Tuesday playing in that single elimination, playing with their hair on fire. Florida could be one of those, most likely will be. Ole Miss, LSU, all 3 of those teams really going to Hoover with some work to do, I think, as far as an NCAA resume. Here's the 1-2 to Heyman. And that is gone. Luke Heyman sends it out of the yard. And he's on a tear. That's good for the Gators to see. He homered twice in that Kentucky series, and he opens this Georgia series with a bomb to left field, and it's 4-1.
And it just gets the feel it's going to be that type of day. I was talking to Chuck Girolamo, assistant coach down there for Florida. He goes, I don't remember the ball flying like this at this yard. Has something changed? I said, no, it's just kind of been that way. We saw them putting a show on in BP along with Georgia. And this was a bomb. Ball up in the zone. Another kind of hanger right there. You can see Gonzalez reaching back across his body. That pitch is supposed to be low and away. It's back on the field.
12th homer, 36 RBIs for Heyman, who gets the Gators on the board, and here's Dale Thomas.
They don't realize it, but that home run ball is sitting in left center.
Yeah, there it is, right in front of the G. Ball sitting right there on the field. Someone threw it back, right?
They did, yeah. They returned it. The trees spit it back out. Didn't like how it tasted.
Well, just beyond those trees out there in left field, there's a whole bunch of tents.
It's the Bakken lot.
That ball is hit to right field, and Collins has it for out number 1. So 1 down, and here's Robertson coming to the plate. There it is. They still don't know.
Still don't know.
That no one's recognized it but us.
Yeah, Carter's got it.
Yeah, Dylan Carter's
He's
like,
got
I
it.
sees it now. So what'd you call it? The barking lot?
The Bakken lot.
The Bakken lot.
Strap dog.
They got a whole set of tents set up out there. I guess you walk in and they're playing loud music and having a good time.
Yeah,
which
Strap's
is great.
been out there in the left field lounge since I was playing. And before then. Huge Georgia baseball fan.
Michael Robertson at the plate, making his 34th start of the season at .228, a homer and 14 RBI. And again, the Gators down 2 outfielders now here late in the season with the injury to Ty Evans, and then the injury last night to Hayden Yost, who actually in his first game playing right field on Sunday was the #1 play Sports Center top 10. Made a fabulous catch going over the wall in right field. Line drive called by Brandt. 2 outs.
Well struck right there from Robertson. Kind of caught Branch a little bit. That ball was on the rise. I think he thought he was going to get it head high, and then the late jump there.
Here's Ashton Wilson. He struck out swinging his first time up. 1 of 2 strikeouts for Colton Smith the first time through the order. And how about the numbers for Colton Smith? Came into the game number 8 in the country, 6.83 strikes to walkout ratio. Just 12 walks and 82 strikeouts coming into the game. Number 2 in the SEC among qualifying pitchers for the fewest walks on the season, and number 10 in strikeouts.
He's always ahead in the count. He has good command of that breaking ball. It's good fastball. It's really kind of jumped up 2-3 miles per hour. As one gets away, of course, as we're talking about his great command.
Yeah.
But it's jumped up, 2-3 miles an hour since the start of the season. It's got a little extra life on the back end of it. But if it weren't for a couple of innings this season, his numbers would be even more impressive than they are. And a couple of innings just kind of exploded on him.
2-1 pitch. I was down there during the last series with the media scrum. We're talking to Colton Smith after another great outing in that Vanderbilt series, and we're trying to draw some good answers out of him, and all he could give us was, I'm just throwing strikes.
Yeah, that's what he looks like out there.
Towing the company line. It's like, can you give us something else? What was the buy-in? What changed for you? Just throwing strikes. We got it. You're throwing strikes. Ball is hit to right field and going to drop for extra bases as it hops over the wall, and that's a ground rule double for Ashton Wilson.
Yeah, big knock right there for Wilson. That was a huge at-bat, getting Caglione to the plate. Now with a runner in scoring position, We'll see. They might just go ahead and walk him. Looks like they are.
That's exactly what they're going to do.
Almost better if he didn't hit the double.
Yeah, I know. We saw that several times in the South Carolina series where there was a wild pitch and the runner for Georgia ran to second, leaving the bag open, so they walked Condon.
That's right.
It's like, just don't. If the ball goes to the backstop, just stand there.
Just
don't leave the bag open for him to walk you. Make him.
You know, and Shelton, obviously, with good power numbers, has 18 home runs himself, but just a 261 batting average on the season, so you take your chances there.
But Shelton comes to the plate. He represents the tying run as the Gators trying to make some noise here in the top of the third. The pitch from Smith is low. Of course, the pinnacle moment in that Georgia-South Carolina series came when a tight ball game against South Carolina in Game 3. They walked Charlie Condon to load the bases and put the go-ahead run at third base, and Logan Jordan came in off the bench and hit a pinch hit grand slam to make it 10-6. Now, I know there were 2 outs, but putting the go-ahead run at third base late in the game like that, Logan Jordan made him pay for it.
A lot of respect for Condon, that's for sure.
2 balls, no strikes to Shelton, pardon me. Shelnut's next. And there's a strike. It's 2-2. Flew out to center field his first time up. As you take a look at the Gators, they have 7 with double-digit home runs. First time since 1997 they've had that many with 10 or more home runs in a season. Swing and a miss. $1998. I think I said 97. 1998. And on that list of 7, they had 3 future major leaguers: Brad Wilkerson, David Ross, and Mark Ellis. How many of these 7 are future major leaguers? 2-2 pitch. Off the hands, and Alford, the second baseman, will take it for out number 3 as the Gators get a run, but they strand 2. That he said that, I still owe a lot to the Georgia program. No other school I would want to represent. After all that Georgia's done to help me develop as a baseball player, I could never leave them. You just don't hear players talk like that anymore.
Yeah, as good a player as he is, he's that good a person as well, and I think that's one of the more impressive things about the young man. We talked to a scout earlier this year, just said he profiled one of the best interviews he's ever had was with Charlie Condon.
Here's the 1-1 pitch to Condon. Fouls it out of play, 1-2. You just don't hear players in this day and age, and I'm not judging players in this day and age and sounding like the guy who's yelling, "Get off my lawn," you know?
Right.
But you hear more of a business aspect to the conversation. They're going with the best opportunity that represents them. And Charlie Condon, in his interview, just said, there's just no way I could leave Georgia. They've invested so much in me. They were the only program that believed in me coming out of high school. We all know the story that he was a preferred walk-on. And you just don't see that kind of loyalty. Not at the college, not at any level. It's just the business aspect of the pro game is permeated to the college game.
Yeah, no doubt. Charlie shows a lot of gratitude for everything that he has on and off the field.
So Condon aboard with the walk to get things started for the Bulldogs here in the third. Number 1 in the nation in batting average at .454. Number 1 with 34 home runs. Number 2 in on-base percentage. And number 1 with a .082 slugging percentage. And Kylie McDaniel of ESPN has him rated as the top collegiate prospect in the MLB draft. And we're just 2 months out from the draft. As Trey Phelps yanks that one foul. We'll be talking about him in about 2 years from now about the MLB draft.
No doubt. He's another just good player here at Georgia. I mean, I think the last time you saw a freshman hitting in that 3 slot was Gordon Beckham back in 2006.
Swing and a miss. Beckham, of course, was a Gold Spikes finalist in 2008. Buster Posey won the award that year. I bring that up because we have two of the top candidates for the Golden Spikes Award on the field this weekend in Charlie Condon and Jack Caglione. And Condon, after one of the games in the last series here against Vanderbilt, was talking about how great it was going to be to have Florida here and Caglione. They're over there at first base. Wonder what the conversation's like. Looks like they're talking it up a little bit. Condon confided that Caglione's one of his good buddies. 1-2 pitch. Missed, and it's 2-2. I guess greatness attracts itself to each other, right?
Well, I think you can relate to one another, too. It just they get pitched the same. They're both highlighted on the lineup for the opposing team. Don't let this guy beat you. So I think, yeah, absolutely. Kind of attracts itself.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Phelps, and here is Kevin O'Sullivan out of the dugout.
I'd be waiting on the trainer to come with him here. Taking on Coppola.
And Coppola's just had
looks like a technology malfunction.
Okay. Yeah, Coppola, thankfully it is not an injury visit. He went 783 days between his first start of his career in 2022 and his next one, which was April 13th, a month ago against South Carolina. You talk a long and arduous trip, and Sully was telling us with that back surgery back in 2022, he was in so much pain. He was like bent over. He's 6'8".
Yeah.
But he was 6'6" because he couldn't stand up straight because of the back pain. So whatever Sully had to say to Coppola was brief. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Phelps. Three and 2. He went 64 total pitches in his last start. That was 2 2/3 against Kentucky last week. That was a career high. That ball is scorched to left field, and it's going to get over the head of the left fielder and hit the base of the wall. Condon heads to third, gets the stop sign from the third base coach, Josh Simpson. Phelps is in at second with a double.
And you just don't see a young hitter able to do this like Phelps can. Jake Clemente.
2-0, 3.14 ERA, just over 14 innings of work. 23 strikeouts, just 9 walks, 13 hits allowed during those 14 1/3. And he's got a string of 5 consecutive scoreless appearances and 7 straight appearances without giving up an earned run, as Alford's the first man that he faces and throws a strike by it. Dogs right back at it here in the bottom of the third, knocking Coppola out of the game. Got inside on him with a 92, and it's 0-2.
And you got Alford set up perfectly for a chase breaking ball down and away with those 2 fastballs riding up toward his hands.
Alford, a sac fly RBI his first time up. 0-2 pitch, foul back. There's Coppola, went 2 innings, gave up 4 hits to this point, 4 earned runs, the 2 aboard his responsibility. A walk, no strikeouts, 48 pitches. As the journey continues for him. I know they'll be excited maybe to get a full, strong, healthy offseason in the books for this young man.
Yeah, that's the hope. You can see the stuff. The frame obviously plays if he can continue to stay healthy and really command the inside part of the plate to righties. I think, just from watching how Heyman was setting up he couldn't quite command that part of the plate as well as he wanted to. Left a couple of balls out over the dish. Led to a couple of home runs.
Clemente was last charged with an earned run on March 12th. It's been 2 months. 1-2 pitch. Outside, it's now 2-2. out of Coral Springs, Florida, and Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. 2-2 pitch. Called strike 3 as Alford is dispatched back to the dugout for out number 1. For Tate, I would say most of them have been backside homers.
Yeah, that's kind of his power alley. He slides a little bit, but he's got quick enough hands. He'll go pull side on you. He's one of those natural hitters. His bat stays in the zone a good long time. So not much swing and miss.
Here's the 0-1 to Tate's. Check swing.
Oh, I got that a foul ball.
Yeah, check swing, foul ball, 0-2. Yeah. Condon down at third and Phelps down at second. Condon a leadoff walk and Phelps with a double to follow. 1 down in the inning. Clemente 0-2 pitch. Fastball outside at 93, and it's 1-2. Gators averaging 10.6 strikeouts per 9 innings, 5th in the SEC, 13th in the country. That was their first strikeout just a moment ago, and this is the second. So Clemente has come in and done exactly what he's been doing all season long and striking out guys.
And that two-seam just comes back a little late. See both Alford and Tate just kind of giving up on it like it's an outside pitch, and it's clipping the corner there as it goes by. And now Georgia, after second and third, nobody out,
has
yet to put a ball in play, give some action. So they need a big 2-out knock.
Here's Fernando Gonzalez, popped up to Caglione his first time up. Strike 1. Going back to that called third strike there on Tate's, I mean, I would have given up on it too. It looked like it was way outside.
Yeah, it just came back late.
Gonzalez, another fastball. Clemente just throwing smoke right now.
Yeah, right at the top of the zone too. He's winning the strikes. That one looked like it might have been a little bit in off the plate, but getting the call and sticking with it is Clemente.
9 homers, 45 RBI for Gonzalez, just under 300 with the batting average. And the 0-2, a little bit high that time, 94 again, as Clemente has sat right there at the 94-95.
Yeah. Just raring back and throwing it right now.
One-two pitch. Outside, 94 again, 2-2. Gators at 26 and 25. The other part of the equation that we haven't really discussed, and we will as we go throughout the evening, is they got to be 500 at least. That's the other thing they've got to tackle here in regard to an NCAA tournament resume. You can only get in with a sub 500 record if you're the tournament champion.
Right.
Got to stay at 500 at the very least. Three-two pitch to Gonzalez. Fouled back. Kevin O'Sullivan with their RPI sitting at 30, their strength of schedule #1 in the country. Feels like if they can win this series, take 2 out of 3 from the Dogs, that means they'd be 27 and 26, 13 and 17 in the conference. He feels like that'll get them in. Now, whether it does or not, I don't know, but he's never missed a regional, so he has a pretty good idea what it takes to get in. Here's the 3-2. Bouncer on the infield. And the second baseman, Curlin, will throw him out. Bulldog, tries to compensate, make up for it, whatever it is they've been talking about. They've left us in the dark on this, so we'll start the inning. Top of the 4th, and Shellnut, Curlin, and Donay due up for the Gators. It's 4-1 Georgia.
Yeah, at first when he was talking, I thought maybe it was about balls and strikes, but turns out something else.
Colton Smith responds with 2 consecutive strikes here to Shellnut to start the inning. He flew out to center his first time up. Matt Stewart along with Jason Jacobs, thanks for joining us for the opener of this SEC series, final weekend of the regular season. 3 straight strikes. And Shelnut goes down swinging. That'll be strikeout number 3 for Colton Smith.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Colton skipped a beat.
Nope.
Like a changeup right there, kind of falling off the table and going arm side, but a lot of good action on that off-speed pitch.
Here's Curlin. Popped up in foul territory to Charlie Condon his first time up. Fouls it over on the right side again. Condon gives chase and going to run out of real estate. By the way, if you were making plans to be here for game 2 tomorrow, there's been a change. First pitch has been moved up from 6 o'clock to 1 o'clock in anticipation of inclement weather here in the Athens area, and the forecast doesn't look good. Doesn't look great even at 1 o'clock or throughout the course of the afternoon. So it could be a long day at the ballpark tomorrow as we kind of wait through potential weather. If they don't get it in tomorrow, that means they'd have to play 2 7-inning games on Saturday. The weather forecast on Saturday isn't that great. Here's the 0-2 to Curlin. That's the first ball of the inning after 5 consecutive strikes from Colton Smith. And of most importance, a bad weather forecast impacts Florida a lot more than it impacts Georgia. Florida needs to play and get wins.
Yeah.
1-2, struck him out.
Just got to love Colton Smith's focus. It's thrown off a little bit. Comes back with 2 straight strikeouts.
Like I said, he just throws strikes.
Just throws strikes. That's it. It's that simple.
It really is. What's the game plan? Just throw strikes.
It's simple. Not easy, but simple.
Here's Donay. Hit down the line, foul past the first base umpire, Brandon Bennett. He struck out swinging his first time up, one of the now 4 strikeout victims for Colton Smith. Wow, what an inning here for Colton Smith. He's thrown just 1 ball.
Just throw strikes.
That's exactly what he's done. Eight out of 9 pitches have been strikes. Make it 9 out of 10 as that one's fouled off.
You know, and I haven't seen his breaking ball up close, but you see some of these swings. It's just must be tough to recognize spin. You got the shadow kind of playing where he's pitching out of a light background, and the hitter is in the shade. Makes it that much tougher. Seen a lot of awkward swings from some pretty good hitters here in the Florida lineup.
0-2 from Colton Smith. Breaking ball is hit in the air to right center field. Long run and forget about it. It's gone. Well, Donay, living up to his BP billing, clobbered that one into the trees. It's 4-2.
Yeah, it was a big-time backside home run right there. That slider just stayed up a little bit. You saw Gonzalez try and set up warning.
Here's Heyman, who hit a home run his first time up. So the Gators' 2 runs have come from home runs from the 6 and 7 spots in their order. 0-1 to Heyman. Fastball missed up and in. 1-1. He was 3 for 14, couple of homers in that Kentucky series. It was his first multi-home run game of the season, and the first since he did it last year against Ole Miss. So we'll show you what precipitated the warning here in just a moment. Here's the 2-1 pitch. In there for a strike, 2-2. So here's Donay going around second base. Watch Alford And Donay looks like he had some choice words for Alford there as he was rounding second base.
Scott Klein, who made the call, was standing out there. So
Colton Smith with the strikeout. He strikes out the side, but Donay interrupts it with a blast to right center field.
they're just blending in.
We're just happy to be here. We're going to stay out of this. Looks like it could get nasty. Here's Dylan Carter, homered his first time up. Bottom of the fourth, a good one going on here in the series opener. 4-2 Georgia leading Florida. Like we said when we started the game about an hour and 15 minutes ago, when we looked at the schedule back in February, March, we're thinking that into the regular season, maybe Georgia's just scrapping to get in. Florida would be the team that we're talking about, top 8 national seed, if not number 1 in the country. They were number 2 in the country in the preseason.
That's right.
And it's been an entire flip of the script, if you will. Hot shot to the second baseman, Curlin. On one hop, throws him out.
And you kind of feel like, Florida's got a little bit of that Mo, the 2 solo home runs, throwing up a 0 in the bottom half of the third, after 2 guys reach. You feel like Clemente's settling in here, throwing a lot of strikes. This Georgia lineup hasn't really looked comfortable off of him yet. The 4 batters now that he's faced.
Set down 4 in a row, struck out Alford and Tate looking, then got Gonzalez and Carter to ground out to the second baseman. So here's Murillo, who grounded out to the shortstop, facing Coppola, his first time up. Baseball's a long game, though. 9 innings is a long time, and Florida, I agree with you on the Mo, but can they overcome some of those things that have killed them the last 6 SEC series? Not making the pitch at the right time, not getting the hit at the right time, showing a lot of inexperience. Lost a lot off of last year's team that played LSU for the national championship. Brought plenty back. They were rated number 2 in the country. But some of their youth and inexperience has shown out here in the back half of this SEC season as Shelton throws out Murillo for out number 2.
You feel like, obviously losing some of those veterans and the talent they provided. You feel like it's been replaced. They got good talent, but that experience, that's something you just don't get back, and that leadership.
We just had a great conversation with Sully in the dugout. I mean, we spent a lot of time with him. He was just kind of airing, not grievances,
right,
but he was just kind of sharing with us how frustrating and difficult this season has been for him and the whole program, the players too. Says, I like these kids. They're great kids. They play hard. They're talented.
Right.
But he said he's seen some things as he's watched the kind of the SEC unfold over these last couple of seasons that may be kind of changing his mind a little bit on how he approaches, building his program from here on out.
Yeah, he's been so good at kind of growing from within and just going through one of those times where that inexperience has cost him a lot of those one-run ball games. And I think, too, with not being able to get in rhythm with consistency with some of the nagging injuries that have plagued them this year.
Branch, great throw there by Shelton to throw him out. Bulldogs go 3 up, 3 down. 6. Heyman and Donay have homered for the Gators. Tate's hit a 2-run homer. Carter hit a solo homer for the Dogs. Not your typical home run hitters for Georgia getting it done on that side of things for the Bulldogs. Dale Thomas, the third baseman, number 8 in the order, leading off the inning for the Gators here in the top of the 5th. I say a typical SEC opener, kind of a Friday night, although this is Thursday night, of course. With the SEC tournament coming up, everything's moved up a day. But that hasn't been the case this year. I mean, we've had some crazy, wild offensive games in series openers, and then it's the second game
It
that
does-
turns into like the Friday night start, what we all refer to as the Friday night start in the SEC. It was money. You can count on it.
Yeah, it does kind of seem that way. It's a little interesting the way that has kind of become a theme throughout this season. Where that game 2 seems to be the pitcher's duel.
Yeah, Friday nights were always tight, low-scoring games. I remember we did a Friday night game. You might have been an assistant coach. We did there was a Georgia at Florida game. It went 20 innings. Did it go 20 or 16
Oh, yeah,
innings?
that's right.
Or
Ended
maybe
on
16. It was long.
Ended on an error on a strike 3. Couldn't throw it to first base. Could throw it, but just a tough throw to first. Kind of pulled the first baseman off the bag, and that was how it ended. It's a great shortstop playing that game. Roland Fontana and Kyle Farmer.
Oh, yeah.
just web gem
Was
after
it
web
16
gem.
or 20?
I think it was 16.
16, yeah, just seemed like 20. Here's the 3-2 pitch. That ball is struck well to center field, but Dylan Carter makes a diving catch at the last moment. Looked like that thing was sinking on him fast. You could see the sunglasses flashing back at us. He hangs in there and makes the great catch.
Yeah, almost looked like that ball might have been knuckling a little bit. You expect it to kind of fade back towards the right or maybe hook, but it did both. Carter stuck with it there. That very well could have been knuckling out there and wobbling out on the way.
Here's Robertson, number 9 hitter, batting for the second time, lined out to Branch his first time up. Thing I remember about that, and this will tell you where my mind always is, that we just got out of there late. It was like 1:30 in the morning, and
Right.
Rusty Inzer and he was my color commentator. We had to eat at Steak and Shake. Nothing against Steak and Shake. I'm all in on a Frisco melt any day of the week and a milkshake. But that's what I remember about that.
Oh, yeah. Late night eating.
16
Baseball.
innings, and we had to eat at Steak and Shake. It was the only place open. Better than having a late night in Clemson. The only place open is the Waffle House.
Yep.
Again, nothing wrong with it. But you do like to have options, right?
That's right.
You want to have some options.
I've walked through many a Taco Bell drive-through.
Yeah.
It works.
Walk through.
Yeah, you got to walk through. You're on the road. It's late.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Robertson. Got him. Gonzalez will pick it up and throw him out. Strikeout number 6. And that's 4 of the last 6 batters as Colton Smith just seems to be getting sharper.
Yeah, and you feel like ever since that meeting,
Yeah.
other than the one mistake to Doane, he made him pay, but he's been really efficient with his pitches. Just 68 pitches to this point, 4 2/3 innings. So
Yeah, that's a great point. Ever since Sully talked to the home plate umpire, Ronnie Teague, and then Teague went out there and said something to Colton Smith that kind of triggered this whole umpiring conference that we've had the last couple of innings. Looked like that kind of set Colton Smith off, and he struck out 4 of the last 6 batters.
Yeah,
We'll find out tomorrow morning when we go down to the dugouts. We'll find out what was going on. But there is activity in the Georgia bullpen. Ashton Wilson batting for the 3rd time, doubled his last time up. He has 3 hits on the season. 2 of them have been doubles. And all of his hits have come in the last 2 games as he's been pressed into duty because of injuries in the Gators outfield. Check swing foul back. One ball, 2 strikes. Colton Smith trying to finish out strong here in this 5th inning. He's at 71 pitches. Called strike 3 as he drops in the breaking ball. 7 strikeouts for Colton Smith. He has struck out Friday afternoon. Inclement weather sneaking in the back door. I was totally caught unawares by it. Collins shoots it straight up in the air. Shortstop Shelton takes it on the right side of the bag for out number 1. Yeah, I didn't know we had bad weather coming in, but we do, supposedly.
we'll see.
Exactly.
It could miss us.
That's the best way to approach it. We'll see.
50-50 chance, right?
Exactly. Here's Charlie Condon.
Okay.
And they're going to walk him with the bases empty. Just put him on. After they got the first out, too.
That's just interesting. I mean, you mentioned getting that first out. I feel like Trey Phelps hit a double in his last at bat. And obviously a little bit different with Clemente on the mound. Doesn't have the lefty coming into him. You had mentioned that right-handed heavy Georgia lineup. Phelps kind of in there to face Coppola, the lefty.
Well, that's the 23rd intentional walk for Condon. So he's aboard for Trey Phelps, who doubled his last time up. It's funny, we were joking with Sully about that.
Yeah.
Wes Johnson. So I guess Wes walked Caglione
That's
earlier.
right.
So
Sully was joking he should have brokered a deal. You don't walk Cags, and I won't walk Charlie.
So he walked Cags, and so he walked Charlie. That ball is struck well to center field. Going back on it is Robertson, and it's gone. Or off the wall, pardon me. Off the wall, it's going to be a double. Bounces back. I kind of lost it in the sunlight there. Thought it might have crept over. And Phelps with his second consecutive double. Dogs have second and third.
That just continues to swing a hot bat. Does Phelps. That ball kept carrying. I thought it might have gone too, but it kind of blended in with the T-Mobile out there in right center field. Not a bad pitch, knee high. It just stays through it.
See, at that point I thought it was gone, but apparently it bangs off the wall. So second and third for the Dogs and one out. And here's Alford. Now Alford was faced with this situation back in the third and failed to advance the runners and struck out looking.
This will be his second time seeing Clemente, though. That was when the pitching change happened.
Bouncer to the left side. Long throw, Shelton got him, run scores, and it's 5-2. So the second RBI of the night for Alford coming on and out. Had a sac fly and now a bounce out.
Yeah, much better at bat right there. Just getting something on the ground early, putting something in play, guaranteeing that run comes in from third. I think that's a big run to grab a little bit of that momentum back. The pitchers were kind of settling in.
Gets the lead back to 3 runs. So Phelps had to hang it second. Here's Tates with 2 outs. Tates with a 2-run homer back in the first inning to get the scoring started for the Bulldogs. 3-run inning. Alford had actually driven in the first run of the night with that sac fly, and then Tates followed with a 2-run backside bomb to give Georgia the early 3-0 lead. They've led by as much as 4 in the game after the home run by Carter to start the second. The Gators been slowly chipping away, but just a couple of solo home runs for Florida tonight in the scoring column. One ball, 2 strikes to Tates. And that's going to bounce into the hole. Phelps gets waved around third. Here comes the plate from Shelnut. He's going to be safe at the plate. Tates motors into second, and it's 6-2 Georgia.
Boy, and Phelps' speed makes up for not the greatest of base running decisions. He kind of freezes on that line drive to the left side with 2 outs. Could have been off with the crack of the bat. You can see him right here, kind of freeze to wait for it to go through, and then he gets motoring. I thought they were going to hold him up, but waves him around. He really accelerates around third base to make up for that delay. Gets in there safely. Between Alford and Tates, both struck out looking in their first at-bats against Clemente. Were able to get the ball put in play early in the at-bat.
Ball 1 to Gonzalez. Jameson's been their workhorse. He's appeared in 8 of their last 15 games with a team low 3.57 ERA in just under 18 innings with 22 strikeouts and 3 walks. Gonzalez is 0 for 2 tonight. Popped up to Caglione at first and grounded out to Curlin at second. Chance to drive in a run here as the Dogs have put 2 on the board in the bottom of the fifth. There's a strike to Gonzalez. It's 2-1. Jamison over his last 8 outings, 1-0, 2 saves. Opponents batting just .246 against him. 2-1 pitch, down the line, base hit. Here comes Tate's, going to score easily. And the Dogs have a 7-2 lead as Gonzalez takes a wide turn at second base. Shellnut out there in left field had some trouble as the ball ricocheted away from him. And a stand-up RBI double for Gonzo.
Jamison maybe went to the well one too many times there. 4 straight breaking balls. Gonzalez able to keep this one fair right down the third baseline. What a big 2-out knock there for Georgia to expand that lead to 5.
7th double for Gonzalez, RBI number 46. So the Bulldogs getting a lot of production out of the 4, 5, and 6 spots tonight. We'll include the 7th, the 4, 5, 6, and 7. Alford with 2 RBIs, Tates with 3, Gonzalez an RBI, and Carter drove in a run. So all 7 runs have been produced out of the middle of the order. And here's Dylan Carter again, belted a home run his first time up. You can see the average is just at 193. Missed a lot of time with that knee injury. 1-1 pitch in there for a strike, and it's 1-2. One-two pitch. Did he check his swing? They appeal down to third, and Michael Carroll says he did not go around. See, that's the thing about college baseball. You got to have your depth built into the roster because there are no call-ups. There's no AAA team to summon help. Bulldogs, Gators both experiencing that this year as Carter. He goes around that time, rung up by Ronnie Teague, and that'll be the end of the inning. Start the inning for the Gators. Going to let him bat after intentionally walking him his last time up. So he's 0 for 1. Remember, his hitting streak is still at 30. He did not extend the hitting streak until his final at-bat against Kentucky on Sunday. Count goes 2-0 to Caglione.
And this is the difference between when Condon or Caglione is up. You see the pitcher immediately start going to 0-2 type of pitches, trying to get to the edges of the strike zone. With Colton Smith down in the count, very rarely does he ever go 3-0.
His numbers are extraordinary. He has 38 walks and just 18 strikeouts on the season. There's a strike. So what do you think? Is he a first baseman hitter next level, or is he going to be a pitcher next level?
Boy, that's above my pay grade. I think he does both really well. I think his bat plays extremely well, and it's something that you have in the lineup every day. Can you weather that storm? You see some of the injuries that Ohtani has kind of had to go through playing on both sides of the baseball. So that's for the guys that write the big checks to decide.
Well, Caglione's going to get a big check in a couple of months. Here's the 3-2 pitch from Smith. Cold strike 3. Well, that's breaking news right there. That's just the 19th time that Caglione has struck out this season.
And that's what's so tough against Condon or Caglione. That's why it's so impressive what they've been able to do with the bat. You saw Smith throw 5 straight breaking balls, including a 3-0 breaking ball, and that's the first fastball of the at-bat. Well executed there, 94 under the hands. That's what those guys are contending with every at-bat. So to put up the numbers that they've been able to put up, seeing that type of pitch sequence with a kind of a nothing to lose if I walk you, no big deal approach with nobody on base is really adds to how impressive a season they're both having.
Well, how about Colton Smith? He has struck out 6 of the last 8 batters that he's faced. That's he's pretty much everybody in the order. He's faced everybody for a third time.
Yeah, and again, nobody really
For a
looks
second and
comfortable
third time.
when he executes a slider like that. You just see a lot of awkward swings. The only blemish in the game thus far is just 2 misexecuted pitches that were taken advantage of. Credit to Florida's lineup.
And solo home runs.
Solo home runs, that's right.
Shelton, and that'll be a base hit. 5th hit of the night. Pardon me, 4th hit of the night for the Gators. That snaps the string. That's the first base hit since Wilson had, since the home run by Done in the 4th, and the first one where a guy actually was standing on base since Wilson got the double in the 3rd. So we'll see if that gets any movement in the Bulldogs bullpen. He's at 81 pitches. Here's Shelnut, 0 for 2. This is typically where Brian Zeldin starts working in the pen. But nobody yet. And again, prior to that base hit, Colton had struck out 6 of the previous 8. Oh, 1 pitch, strike, and it's 0-2, and he's right back where he was. Throwing strikes. Just throwing strikes. Got him. 7 of the last 10.
And you got to love the way Smith, doesn't really set up that strikeout pitch. His command is so good, he just gets more and more fine with the strikes that he's able to throw. And that fastball in there at 94.
Here's Curlin. He struck out swinging his last time up. Ball is popped up. Alford, the second baseman, Camps has it. Inning over. Colton Smith, 2 for 8 runners in scoring position. Murillo leads off the inning for Georgia. And I think Colton Smith, going back to him, he's been the real difference maker for Georgia here over the last month of the season, and the reason why Georgia has gone from a team just looking like they would make an NCAA regional to possibly being a top 8 national seed. He won 4 games in April, 3 of them out of the pen, a start against Texas A&M. He was the only pitcher in the SEC to do that, win 4 games in April. And you look at his numbers and you look at his ERA and you're kind of like, what? But he's got 28 earned runs allowed coming into tonight. 14 of those came in the games against Kentucky and Tennessee. And then just 14 earned runs in the other 15 games. Murillo bounces it into right field for a base hit, his first hit of the night. So Murillo aboard to start the inning. That's 8 hits for Georgia now. Colby Branch is the only guy in the order who hasn't been on base yet tonight. Flew out to center, grounded out to the shortstop. It's Branch's night in a nutshell. Popped it up over our heads. Branch has started in every one of Georgia's games except for the one in which he got suspended for throwing his helmet into the air after he hit a walk-off grand slam.
That is in the first half of the doubleheader.
Against Alabama.
Walk-off grand slam.
Sends this one in the air over on the right side. Wilson has it. So Branch is now 0 for 3. Time. Still looking for his first hit. He's officially 0 for 2 tonight. Was hit by a pitch to start the offensive night for the Bulldogs back in the first. 25th time he's been hit by a pitch this season. Strike one from Fisher. One and one to Collins. 16 home runs on the year, 49 RBI, number 4 in the SEC in slugging percentage, number 8 in batting average. And as we mentioned, number 1 in on-base percentage. That's the nation, number 1. Having a great senior season and good to see. The count goes 3-1 to Collins. You got to be careful with him. When you get the plate, he'll send it over the wall. 3-1. Breaking ball in there for a strike. It's 3-2.
You see that respect. You got the breaking ball 3-1 with Condon on deck behind him. So again, just speaks to the toughness it is to navigate this lineup.
3-2 from Fisher. Ball 4. 49th walk of the season for Collins. He's 4th in the SEC.
And it's uncanny the way he does it. He didn't even take the bat off of his shoulder. Didn't even have to offer it. One of those pitches, a couple of good ones by Fisher. Now we got some action in the righty. We're going to see a little bit of a stall here from Heyman. So just as soon as I said nobody was stirring in the bullpen, somebody started stirring.
Charlie Condon has been on base 3 times tonight.
That pitch clock running, but they're gonna have it. Here comes Sully. So it will not be the lefty.
Crowd boos as O'Sullivan makes his way out of the dugout.
In this case, Slater will take him on right. With the fastball, good changeup, and a good slider to go with that.
First pitch to Charlie Condon is a ball high, 92 with the fastball. He had a streak of 8 straight home run games snapped on Friday. One shy of tying the NCAA record shared by Jack Caglione, who did it last year, actually did it earlier this year. Counts 2-0 to Condon. Sitting on 59 career home runs in just 106 career games. 2-0 pitch to Condon. Nowhere close, it's 3-0. Charlie had a 3 home run game against the Gators last season in the 13-11 series opening victory in Gainesville. Fouls that one out of play. It's 3-1.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself right there, if I'm Charlie, I'm probably sitting on something off speed, 3-0. And sure enough, he throws him a fastball, and Charlie's a little bit late on it.
Here's the 3-1 pitch from Slater. Solid shot to the second baseman, spin move to get the middle out onto first, and got the double play. How about that? Curlin to Shelton to Kaggs on a 4-6-3 beauty. Crowd boos as Murillo reaches.
After review, the out call at first base will be overturned to safe.
All right.
Georgia retains its challenge and still has 2 remaining for the game.
So Charlie Dog's single season slugging list as a freshman. Ball squirts away from the catcher, and Condon's going to advance to second. Ball
Tough
slid
read
right
there.
under Heyman.
And it was a tough read there from Murillo. Not a lot of depth perception. That ball was going directly away from him, so I don't think he could tell how far it had gone away. And again, with Trey Phelps swinging as hot a bat as he is, the last thing you want to do is take it out of his hand.
I'm just poking a little fun here at Heyman because every catcher does it. I'm sure you did it too. How come y'all always look at your glove after that happens?
Because you're mad at yourself for missing it. Usually, that's what I was
Are
doing.
you looking to see if there's a hole or something that it got under? They're going to put Phelps on to load the bases and face Alford. How about that? Alford's driven in 2 runs tonight.
I got to love that. Trey Phelps looking back at Alford saying, come on now, get it done.
Well, Slade Alford steps up there with the bases loaded. He's hit 3 grand slams this season. If he does it again, it'll be the all-time record in Georgia history. Goes after the first pitch and serves it foul down the right field line. Most recently hit a walk-off grand slam in the Bulldogs' 17-6 8-inning win over Ole Miss. Also hit 2 in 1 week back in early March against Georgia Southern in northern Colorado. 0-1 misses, and it's 1-1. Alford up to 61 RBI on the season. Came in number 5 in the SEC in that category. Bounces it to Shelton. Lobs the throw over to Caglione, and the inning comes to a close. Bulldogs leave the bases loaded. Here's Done, who homered his last time up. Smith has allowed just 4 hits through 6 innings, and 2 of them were solo homers to Done and Heyman. Ball fouled back. You know, I like that stat, the strikeouts per 9 innings, because it makes it looks good. It's a good meaty stat. But the problem with that stat is nobody pitches 9 innings. Especially when you bring in a relief pitcher,
Right.
who usually lasts about 1 inning or 2, and he's striking out 15 per 9. I'd like to see it, but he's only doing it like 1 or 2 innings at a time. Well, that's a big strikeout right there, and that's 10. 8 of the last 12 for Colton Smith.
And again, going about it with the fastball, I saw a lot of the earlier strikeouts were on that slider. That one there with a fastball, a little bit of arm side action. That ball's supposed to be up above the hands, ties him up late. No setup pitch necessary, though. He just goes to the edges of the strike zone. Just throw strikes.
Just throw strikes.
Just throw strikes.
Here's Heyman, who hit the Gators' first home run of the day back in the 3rd. Everybody in the Gators lineup has struck out except for Shelton, the 3-hole hitter, and Thomas, the 8-hole hitter. Everybody struck out at least once. Had him turning away from that. You had him flinching away. He thought that thing was coming in on him. It falls right into the strike zone. It's 0-2.
Yeah, both those breaking balls stayed arm side, but good job by Gonzo sticking with him. Giving home plate umpire Ronnie Teague a good look at it.
No balls and 2 strikes. Ball in the air, right side. Collins over there near the line has it for out number 2.
Similarly here, trying to go up in the zone. Just goes to the edges. It's in the strike zone, but it's just to the edge enough that it doesn't get hit hard, so he doesn't waste that pitch.
Well, it certainly would be interesting to find out, and we won't know until the end of the game, if what happened with O'Sullivan and the home plate umpire, and then the home plate umpire going out there to Colton Smith and saying something to him, whatever that was, or whether it was all just coincidence. But since that time, he has struck out 8 of the 13 batters that he's faced.
He seemed to hit a different level. That's for sure. He gave up the 1 home run to Done, got him, but struck out the side. Other than that home run, struck out the side in that inning, and has been just lights out ever since.
That ball is hit to center field. Dylan Carter over to his left has it. 3 up wins right now, and 17 in the conference.
That's just a remarkable turnaround. They've really started to click as a team and put it all together as Tates leads off the inning. Nice crisp single out to center field.
Yeah, he's been a big part of that renaissance, if you will. That's his third hit of the night. Since they've kind of settled in with Tates in left field, he's been a big part of the equation, piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, they've played so many guys throughout the season. You feel like you've gotten contributions, even some of those bench guys. You mentioned the big home run against South Carolina in that third game.
Will Coggin, the hitting coach for the Dogs, steps out of the dugout, now joined by Wes Johnson. The pro managers do. Send him back out there, first sign of a walk or a base hit, get him out. That ball is hit to the right side, going to be caught by Wilson, and Tates will have to go back, one down. Dylan Carter steps up there.
You got Patty Sack out in the bullpen, but he's just playing a very non-competitive game of catch. It's like he's just trying to loosen that arm up a bit.
Carter sends this one deep to center field and gone! Dylan Carter with his second homer of the night. And the Dogs have opened up a 9-2 lead. Might have just answered your question about Colton Smith, too.
Maybe, but Carter, welcome back to the Georgia Bulldogs lineup there. A couple of home runs to the big part of the field. He goes backside bomb there to left center. That must have been what that meeting was about, too. All right, Gonzo, just go ahead and line out to right field. And Carter, you come and hit the two-run jack backside. Get a couple of insurance runs here.
Third home run of the night for the Bulldogs. My goodness, it just doesn't stop. That's 136 on the season. They have obliterated the program record as Murillo steps up to the plate. Program record was 109, set by the 2009 team in 62 games. Pretty physical batting team.
Yes.
That at one point was ranked #1 in the nation. And this one has just like blown that one out of the water. And that's why I think it's so incredibly huge. We keep talking about being a top 8 national seed. This team is nearly unbeatable at home. If they hold on and get the win tonight, they'll now be 29-3 at Foldy Field this season, 11-2 in SEC games. They're built for this ballpark. Their pitchers are built to pitch in this ballpark. And I think if they can get a top 8 national seed, which means they win the regional, they'd host the Super too. I think if they can do all that, they've got a great chance to get to Omaha, as crazy as that might sound.
Well, I mean, the steps that they've taken on the mound in particular, the emergence of Colt Smith, Zeldin, a couple of the arms out of the bullpen, you talk about Roberge and Patty Sack, Maracna, another one.
Finley's going to start tomorrow.
Finley's going to start. He's been solid all year long. I think that's one of the reasons he's that Game 2 starter. It seems like they've kind of matched up with two of the better arms for the weekend. That's why we've seen some of the pitcher stools happen in that Game 2. And you talk about maybe Goldstein as well getting back.
Murillo bounces it out there to left field on a line drive base hit. Sullivan out of the dugout, and the crowd, Cat calls to him, leave him in.
Way to go in this inning, runner at first with just one out. So Mendez looking to maybe roll a ground ball double play, get them back in the dugout.
Colby Branch looking for his first hit. Dogs have 11 of them. Branch does not have any of them. He's 0 for 3. That's ball 1 to Branch. Yeah, especially since the series has now become a little bit more compacted because the 6 o'clock start last night is now a 1 o'clock start tomorrow afternoon, because trying to avoid inclement weather, don't know whether they're going to be able to do that or not. And then you got a Saturday game at 2 o'clock, which if we have the weather's really bad tomorrow, then that's a doubleheader on Saturday.
You talk about all the arms that Florida's run out there. It's the 6th arm we've seen in Georgia just with Colton Smith.
Yep. And now having expanded the lead to 7, a good chance we're going to see Colton Smith pitch the 8th.
I would think so. That bullpen's gotten quieter.
Two 2-1 pitch from Menendez. Swing and a miss. It's 2-2. Branch, who's batted up and down the batting order in the 9 spot tonight. Bounces that one to the third baseman. Thomas throws to second, on to first, not in time, as Caglione could not hold on to it on the back end. They get the middle runner Murillo, or the front runner Murillo. It's going to be 2 down in the inning.
A great slide there by Murillo. He kept it clean, but was able to interfere enough, kind of break this double play up. You could see Curlin not quite able to step into that throw. Caglione unable to come up with the pick.
So here's Corey Collins. Collins still in search of his first hit of the night. Wow, down the line, but it's going to be foul. Smashed that one into the trees. And how many times have we seen Collins get out in front of one?
That's the only trouble he gets into. For as much as he gains being that close to the plate, it's just hard for him to keep those balls fair. Sometimes he gets a little too quick with that top hand. It's a little bit more lag.
0-1 pitch. Fouls that one off. That was in on him, and he's behind in the count 0-2.
I think we always talk about Collins and how he projects at the next level. I think that'll be an adjustment he may have to make. It's just backing off the dish a little bit more so he can keep those balls fair.
0-2 pitch from Menendez up the middle, base hit. Branch touches second. He's headed to third. Will reach it without a throw. Dogs have runners at the corners. Charlie Condon coming to the plate in a situation where a home run would walk it off. Bulldogs are 12-3 in run rule games this season, 4-2 in the SEC. Ball 1 to Condon. Has already extended his hit streak to 22 games with a first inning single. Meantime, Jack Caglione has not been able to extend his hitting streak beyond 30. And if Condon goes yard here, game over. And that will end. 1-0. Missed high, 2-0 to Condon. (9-2), Georgia on top. Bottom of the 7th. Run rule territory again for Georgia. They've been here so often this season. 2-0 from Menendez. 3-0. They don't intentionally walk him here on 3-0. Ball 4, bases loaded. So Condon at first base represents the walk-off run. And here's Trey Phelps, who has been lethal tonight. They intentionally walked him his last time up. He's got a couple of doubles. Condon at first, Collins at second, Branch at third. Phelps goes deep, but it's not going to be far enough. And that will end the inning. Crowd rose up in anticipation, but a fly ball out, and the game continues. We're headed to the 8th. 7 innings, he's allowed just 4 hits. The 2 earned runs, just 2 solo home runs an inning apart. Gators have never really threatened with a big inning. Robertson, the number 9 hitter, leading off the inning. He's 0 for 2, struck out his last time up. Only once the entire night have the Gators had more than one man on base at any given time. And that was the leadoff double. Was it a leadoff? Let's see. No. That was a two-out
After the
double.
home run, Heyman hit the home run.
Yep, it was a
two-out
two-out double
and an
actually by
intentional
Wilson.
walk.
Yep, by Caglione, and then they got the final out, and that was it. It was as close as the Gators had to putting up a crooked number tonight. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Robertson. And again, if you're just now tuning in, it's been a long day at work. Gators playing a man down. Hayden Yost, their outfielder, suffered an ACL injury in practice yesterday here at Foley Field. So not only losing Ty Evans, one of their top offensive players and starting right fielder, a .316 hitter with 13 homers and 43 RBI, broke his wrist in Game 2 of that Kentucky series last week, and now they've lost a second outfielder in the span of just a couple of days. Pitch from Smith goes to the backstop. He was the SEC Pitcher of the Week, Colton Smith. After his performance against the Aggies, that was the one game the Bulldogs won out there in College Station. And they have not lost an SEC game since losing to the Aggies at the end of April. Ground ball hit to Alford, 1 out. Georgia has not lost since April 27th. What's today? 16th, right?
May 16th, yeah.
So we're talking about nearly 3 weeks now.
Oof.
Here's Wilson, who outside of those 2 home runs by Done and Heyman, he has the double. And then the only other base hit was Shelton with the single in the 5th. So the pressure will no doubt be really turned up even more on the Gators going into tomorrow's second game of the series. Hit by pitch. He'll be aboard with 1 down here in the 8th.
And that's the second wild one we've seen this inning. Just kind of get away from Colton Smith a little bit arm side, showing those signs of fatigue. Now up over the century mark. We're going to see some action go. Looks like Maracna is going to start getting loose.
Yeah, short toss going on for Maracna right now. Here's Caglione, a chance to extend, so this is good news. Maybe his last chance to stretch that hitting streak to 31 games and set a new Florida Gators record. It's the longest hitting streak in the SEC since 2016. Missed inside. He was able to extend the hitting streak to 30 games on Sunday in his final at-bat against the Wildcats. Been cutting it close the last couple of games. 1-0 pitch, foul back. One ball, 1 strike. Wow. Got in there real quick. Hope everybody's okay in the Bulldogs dugout. I think they are. Nearly hit Josh Stenson, who was just named to the SEC community team. The Bulldogs representative on that team. Big honor for him this week. Two balls and 2 strikes to Caglione. It's actually officially called the SEC Community Service Team. Two balls, 2 strikes, Colton Smith. Caglione wiggling the bat. Got him. That might be the last chance for that hitting streak. If it is, it's been an extraordinary hitting streak.
A rare chase out of the zone here on the fastball. Up and away, and again, Colton Smith going at 93, so losing a little bit on the velo. I don't think that was a purposeful pitch. Wanted to go away there, but just left it up and arm side. Got Cags fishing on it.
And hitting streak started on March 23rd against LSU. Might end here tonight, May 16th against Georgia. During that streak, he slashed 430, 561, 981. And I think one of the crazy things about that, if tonight's the night that it ends, is he struck out twice tonight. That ball is lifted but foul down the right field line. When you consider that Caglione had struck out only 18 times in 51 games, and he struck out twice here tonight. Colton Smith now with a career high tying 11 strikeouts after he got Cags. Here's the 1-1. Hit down the line in left field, and that's going to be foul. Colby Shelton, one of two Gators who have not struck out tonight. Colton Smith going for a new career high strikeouts. Time finally called. I was getting ready to say, man, that is, wow, that's a long time to be standing there playing stare down. And home plate umpire Ronnie Teague gave Shelton the late timeout.
He did it aggressively. That was almost perfect timing there by Shelton. Pitch clock was down to 3.
But, I mean, that was like a 7-second stare down, wasn't it?
Just holding that runner. Kind of messes with the batter, too. I think some of that comes into play, and the Dogs have done a good job.
Got him. New career high strikeout tonight. Has allowed just 4 hits to the Gators. That's the most strikeouts by a Georgia pitcher this year. And the 8 innings pitched is the most by a Georgia pitcher this year. Colton Smith has already been the SEC Pitcher of the Year once. That was a month ago. Could be clubhouse leader after Thursday night's action. Wait and see what happens. Alford goes down. That's strike 1 to him, 1-1. All right, let's check out the scoreboard here. LSU has a 5-1 lead on Ole Miss. Ball fouled out of play. Christian Moore has already set the single season home run record for the Volunteers. He hit his 25th tonight. Tennessee has a 6-2 lead on South Carolina. That's in the 7th. One-two pitch. Popped up. Shallow center field. Long run in and catch made by Robertson. One out in the 8th. Kentucky, 9-4 lead on Vanderbilt. All season long we've been saying, well, Kentucky can't keep it up, can they? And
they have.
Started by sweeping Georgia in Lexington the first conference weekend of the season.
And coming off of losing 2 out of 3 to Kennesaw State the previous weekend.
Yeah.
Just didn't see it coming with Kentucky. They've had a great, great year.
There's no doubt. Number 2 in the nation behind number 1 Tennessee in the current D1 baseball top 25. Let's see what else we got. We got Mississippi State and Missouri. They're 3-3, and that is in the 6th inning. 6th inning. Auburn leads Alabama 2-1. That's in the bottom of the 6th. They're playing that one at Plainsman Park. How sweet would that be for Butch Thompson's team? I mean, it has been just an awful awful year for the Tigers. Just a couple of years removed from going to the College World Series, too. And last weekend they were able to beat Missouri in the weekend series, and now you got Alabama to close out the regular season. And you're not going anywhere. I mean, this is
it.
This is your playoffs right here. There's a strike, 3-1. Looking to see what else we got going on. I think that looking for that Arkansas and Texas A&M score. Currently is eluding me on the app. Looks like that's been pushed back. Do they have weather? Because my app is saying 9:30 on ESPN2.
Yeah, it must be. I think that's what we're anticipating coming in to Georgia there tomorrow. The game time's been moved up.
Yeah, so Tate's aboard with the walk. He's had a big night. And Gonzalez sends that to left field, caught by Shellnut for out number 2. So the Dogs are really watching that A&M, because A&M's the team right in front of them in the standings. Georgia has to finish a game better than them because A&M has the tiebreaker. But if the Dogs hold on and win here tonight and A&M loses to Arkansas, then Georgia would pull into a tie with them for the 4th spot as they try to avoid that single elimination game on Tuesday. Dylan Carter, 3 RBI, coming on a solo and 2-run homer tonight. 2-run homer coming back there in the 7th. Really kind of blew this game open. You know, Dylan been chomping at the bit apparently. He had 5 home runs in his first 19 starts, 26 games, but been out so long because of that knee injury. Came back, got back into the lineup tonight. Just one of 2 left-handers in the order and hit 2 home runs. Sends this one down the line in left field. That's going to be foul. So if I'm not mistaken, if Tennessee holds on and wins tonight, they lock up a top 4. Of course, Arkansas also trying to lock up a top 4. So by the end of the night, 3 of the top 4 seeds could be locked down. Carter swings through, is fouled into the mid of Heyman. It's 2-2. Then all that's left is for the regular season champion to be decided. Kentucky has the lead in that race. They would be 21-7 if they hold on and win tonight against Vanderbilt. And they would stay 1 game up on Tennessee. And same thing with Arkansas. They haven't even started yet, but Arkansas is 1 game behind them as well in the overall regular season championship race. 2-2 pitch. As a player, how big of a deal is that to you?
The championship?
Regular season.
Oh, huge. I think that's a huge accomplishment. I remember tying for it in 04. Went on a great streak, won 14 of our last 16 ball games, 12 in a row in the SEC.
And that's 1 of 6 for Georgia. Florida's won it 16 times as Carter goes down swinging. That ends the 8th. Last year, the video of him in the bullpen and accusations that he was using a foreign substance on the ball, none of which were founded, and it never went anywhere beyond the postings on the social media boards. First strike from Arachna, facing Shellnut, Curlin, and Donay. Oh, 1 pitch from Arachna. outside 1-1. Loss here for the Gators, and it looks likely unless they can mount some kind of an incredible comeback. Going to leave them at 11-17. That's going to make it really, really difficult on them. The one saving grace they have, as slim as that may be, is that, I mean, you can still go to the SEC tournament. And they have had success in the SEC tournament, of course. They've won 7 tournament championships, most recently in 2015. 2-1 pitch, fouled back. But it isn't easy. You'd have to win that single elimination game, then come through the double elimination. I mean, you could theoretically do it in 4 games. Or in that case, it would be 5 games.
Yeah, with the play
coming through the single elimination, 2-2. That's if you don't fall into the loser's bracket. I mean, if you fall into the loser, you play the single elimination. If you lose in the first game, then you got to battle your way through the loser's bracket. We're looking at, what, 6 games?
Yeah, it's a long shot.
Yeah, it would be 6 games. Because you don't play double elimination on Saturdays anymore. Single elimination in the semifinals. 2-2 pitch from Maracna, swing and miss. 1 down here in the 9th. Shelnut has struck out 3 times tonight.
See that riding fastball right there, staying on plane. Almost an optical illusion to the batter. It looks like that pitch is rising because it's just staying on plane. Gets so much spin on it.
Here's Cade Curlin, rated the number 5 second baseman in college baseball by D1 Baseball. You know, Kyle Peterson's group, D1 Baseball, they just do such a great job of college baseball information dissemination.
Absolutely. It's a nice resource to go to.
1-0 pitch, hit foul.
And it's nice to have such a resource like that with how much this game has really grown. The talent level at the collegiate level is just exploded in the last, really since 2020. I feel like it's helped out college baseball a lot. Shortening of the draft, a lot of guys are making it to college that normally would go straight in the MLB draft. So getting a chance to see these guys play at the amateur level.
Called strike on the corner, and it's 1-2. College baseball has just become such a go-to for professional baseball teams now. That was not always the case, where high school talent was preferred. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Maracna, back up the middle, base hit. 5th hit of the night for the Gators. And that is their first base hit since Shelton's single in the 5th. I think a lot of things have contributed to that. Number one is how big and the college baseball game has become. But from the pro side of it, I think also the urgency. The draft's been shortened. There's fewer minor league teams. There's not as much patience in developing players anymore. You want players who come to your program, and when you're drafting players out of the SEC or the ACC or the Big 12 or the Pac-12, whatever the case may be, I mean, you're getting players that are probably close to many of them AA ready.
Yeah, I'd say so, and they've played in high leverage environments and situations as well. So they're accustomed to that part of the ball game.
So the amount of time that you have to invest in that player will not be as much. At the same time, the amount of time that they invest in the player will not be as much either. There'll be a lot of guys in and out quick.
Yeah, no doubt.
Higher turnover, I think.
And the advancements in strength training and the facilities as well These guys are getting a great baseball education just from a metric standpoint.
Here's the 0-2 from Arachna, and that is going to be ball number 1. Donay belted homer back in the 3rd. Average at 283. That was his 11th homer back in the 3rd, his 23rd RBI. He has struck out his other 2 times, and now the count's 2-2 to Donay. Has extended his on-base streak to 12 games here tonight with that home run. Two from Arachna. Ball 3.
A couple of close pitches in this at bat have not gone Arachna's way.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Arachna trying to get this one finished for Georgia. Got him. Second strikeout for Arachna.
A lot of the swing and misses you see from Arachna on the fastball. This time a slider right there. Donay definitely guessing fastball, chases out of the zone.
That's strikeouts number 62 and 63 on the season for Arachna. He's second on the team behind Colton Smith. And he's done it in 39 innings of work. 1 out to go, and here's Heyman. It is 12th home run of the season back in the 3rd inning. Got a quick turnaround. We'll be back here at the ballpark at 1 o'clock tomorrow. I know the schedule says 6. But because of impending inclement weather, they've moved it up 5 hours. One-0 pitch from Arachna in the air to center field. Dylan Carter spins several ways back at the wall. There it goes. Off the batter's eye, and Heyman has just clubbed his 2nd home run of the night. That's back-to-back multi-home run games for Heyman, having done it Sunday against Kentucky. And it's 9-4.
Arachna just leaves this one up in the zone, not quite high enough. Heyman cheating to that fastball out over the dish, goes dead center. Off the batter's eye, and that's the one Achilles heel for Arachna. He didn't get that fastball up quite enough.
6th home run that Arachna has given up this season. So Heyman now at 13 homers on the season, picking up RBI 36, 37, and 38 here tonight. Del Thomas. Fastball strike, 1-1. We do have activity in the bullpen. In case Arachna can't finish this one off, that might be, is that Robers?
Looks like Chandler Marsh.
Chandler Marsh, 31, not 32, okay. 1-1, called strike, 1-2. Now Arachna has him on the edge. Gators down to their last strike. Crowd rises to its feet in anticipation of the series opening victory. Back up the middle, off of Arachna. He recovers, throws to first, Dogs win.
In this case, Slater will take him on right. With the fastball, good changeup, and a good slider to go with that.
First pitch to Charlie Condon is a ball high, 92 with the fastball. He had a streak of 8 straight home run games snapped on Friday. One shy of tying the NCAA record shared by Jack Caglione, who did it last year, actually did it earlier this year. Counts 2-0 to Condon. Sitting on 59 career home runs in just 106 career games. 2-0 pitch to Condon. Nowhere close, it's 3-0. Charlie had a 3 home run game against the Gators last season in the 13-11 series opening victory in Gainesville. Fouls that one out of play. It's 3-1.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself right there, if I'm Charlie, I'm probably sitting on something off speed, 3-0. And sure enough, he throws him a fastball, and Charlie's a little bit late on it.
Here's the 3-1 pitch from Slater. Solid shot to the second baseman, spin move to get the middle out onto first, and got the double play. How about that? Curlin to Shelton to Kaggs on a 4-6-3 beauty. Crowd boos as Murillo reaches